What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with a fucking banger, alright? This is also going to be another short one, kind of like the last one, but don't worry, everybody, okay? It's still going to be great. Hope you guys enjoy. Drop a like if you do. Let's dive right into it. So, this happened a long time ago now, dude. I can't believe how fucking, quickly time has gone by. Holy shit. Like, when I tell these stories, it's so nostalgic, because, this happened about 2 years ago by now, but it doesn't feel like 2 years ago. Holy shit. So, either way, basically, this happened way back in 2016, junior year of high school. And, during this time of my life, as pretty much all of you probably know, assuming you've watched my prior videos, this was when the stories that you see today were really being churned out. This was when I was just out of control, and thankfully I'm not like that anymore, but at this point in my life, shit was bad. I was doing a lot of drugs, psychedelics in particular, and on this day, it was a nice Friday afternoon. My mom wasn't going to be home for a long time, so I had the house to myself, and I wanted to enjoy the day. It was pretty nice out. It was like April, I think, but it was one of those really nice spring days where it's like 75 and sunny out, so it's like not hot and humid, but it's just some good shit, just some fucking good shit. So I had these really nice tabs at the time, and I only had 2 of them left, and I was intending on saving them, but this day rolled around, the weather was just so nice, I said I gotta pop at least one of them. And what I loved about these tabs was, I remember I saw the whole sheet of them before I had any of them, and they were this really, really cool, picture of a sun. They looked really, the picture was just really good quality. You see some tabs and, when they have an image on them, sometimes the quality isn't very good, but this one really looked good. It almost looked like a real painting. It was pretty crazy. It was a really cool picture, really nice. But either way, I popped one of these tabs around maybe 3 p.m., about an hour after I'd gotten home from school. And each of these tabs, I was told, was, if I remember correctly, I think it was 110 UG a tab, if I remember correctly. I don't really know. I think that's what they were. I know they were over 100 for sure, but either way, I popped one of them, figuring, I don't want to trip super hard, but I just want to have a good evening, and I had no plans and didn't intend to go to Olive Garden at any point until all of a sudden it just kind of came up. I planned on just tripping alone and kind of enjoying myself, and I'm kicking it for maybe the next 30 minutes. It hasn't really hit me yet. I'm just kind of waiting, just chilling out. And all of a sudden, I get a Snapchat from a girl who we're going to call Megan. Now, Megan is someone who I believe has been in quite a few of my stories, but not any of the recent ones, if I remember correctly. So, she's kind of an OG character, so kind of like a reintroduction here. But either way, she hits me up and she's like, hey, what you doing? You want to grab some food? And Megan was someone who, she was kind of attractive. I met her through a friend of a friend, and we didn't really know each other very well, and she didn't really hang out with anyone in my friend group, but we just kind of conversate on our own, even though she didn't hang out with anyone in my group at that point, and we'd occasionally kick it, and she was kind of hot, so it wasn't we just kick it as friends. It was more I really wanted to kind of fuck her, if I'm being honest. And also I probably would have cuffed, so I viewed this as almost like a date, but I didn't know if she viewed it that way, so I had to tread lightly. But I was tripping balls, well, not tripping balls, but I was about to be tripping decently hard, and I didn't really think at the time that this was a bad idea. So I was like, oh yeah, where you want to get some food? And she's like, oh, I don't really care. You could pick. So for some reason, the first thing that came to my mind was Olive Garden. And I don't know why. I will admit that the unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks is pretty decent. But other than that, Olive Garden's not that great, so I'm not really sure why I picked that. But I just kind of threw out Olive Garden. She was like, all right, I'm down. So she comes and picks me up. I refuse to tell her that I'm tripping. I decided to leave that information out. I knew that she smoked, and I didn't really think she did anything harder, but I didn't really know what her opinion would be. And like I said earlier, I wasn't sure if she viewed this as a date or something, and I wanted to tread lightly. I didn't want to just show up tripping and be like, yeah, I'm just a fucking druggie 24/7, and I wanted to kind of impress her a little bit. So, I put on my best cologne. I change into my best clothes. I got ready to go. She comes and picks me up. And, by the time she gets to my house, it's been maybe an hour and 15, hour and a half since, I popped this tab. And I'm feeling pretty great. I hadn't tripped in, maybe a week or two at this point. So, my tolerance was where it needed to be for this to feel great. And, there, for me at least, I have two kinds of trips typically. I either have a very mental trip where I really just think a lot and kind of, I don't know, it really alters how I process things and how I think about things, and I just like to sit down on my own and, just have like a alone kind of trip. Or I have very like visual and physical kind of trips where like, I just see things very differently, and I focus on that instead of what's in my head. I focus on what's around me. And this particular trip was a very, very, very kind of visual trip. I wasn't really thinking very much. I was just looking around and absorbing it all. The thing that made these tabs most memorable for me, at least, was how, they had the little like sun image on the whole sheet, if you guys recall me saying that earlier. And they really did make everything brighter. It was like everything was so colorful on these tabs. So that always stuck with me. I always remembered that. This was probably in my top 3 favorite like batches of acid that I'd ever like tried in my life. This stuff was great. I loved these tabs. But either way, I'm just in her car at this point. We're cruising to Olive Garden. She's chatting with me. We're just hanging out, listening to music, casual conversation. And, the issue is I'm not really paying very much attention to the conversation. And she'd probably like me to, but I'm not. I don't care. I'm just looking out the window, tripping balls. Since I'm, kind of tripping decently hard, I wasn't really like very interested in anything she had to say. Like, it sounds so rude, but honestly, I didn't give a fuck what she had to say at that point. I just wanted to look at shit. So she's cruising. Olive Garden's maybe 10 minutes away. We finally pull up to Olive Garden. It seemed like it was a fucking year-long drive, but it wasn't. It was actually quick. And, we get in there. We get seated immediately. And, we're just kind of chilling. Waitress comes over. Waitress was like, I don't know. I'd been to that Olive Garden before, and they were usually pretty young, but that chick was like 50 at least. But either way, back on topic, she gets us our drinks, we're booling, and, she's trying to ask me what she should get, and I didn't even know what I wanted to get, because I wasn't even hungry, if I'm being completely honest. Like, in my mind, I thought I was hungry, but when I got there, I was just like, oh yeah, none of this really seems appealing at all. So I just start kind of looking around at the decor as, Megan is still talking to me about God knows what. Like, I was kind of responding. Like, I wasn't just completely deflecting her. I was responding, but not processing, if that makes sense. I was just kind of shooting out words that I thought would satisfy her at that point. So, I'm just looking around and looking at all the decorations and all the other people and all the shit going on. And, like I said earlier, it was a very visual experience, but holy fuck, don't go to a restaurant when you're tripping. Like, really, guys, don't. There's too much decor, too many distractions. No bueno. Plus, I wasn't even hungry anyways. So either way, finally we place our orders. I got the fettuccine Alfredo, and I remember it really well, because even though I wasn't too hungry, I will admit that shit still smacked, but I'll get to it later. I ordered the fettuccine Alfredo. I don't know what Megan ordered. It was some, like, shrimp pasta thing. That's all I know. It was something nifty. I'm gonna leave it at that. Some weird hybrid ass shit. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. But either way, we're kicking it for like 20 minutes, and as I'm waiting for the food to come, I really gotta rock a piss. And public restroom pissing while you're tripping is usually quite the expedition. And an Olive Garden bathroom, while I have like a pretty hot girl waiting for me outside who has no idea I'm intoxicated, makes it a lot more of an expedition. So, I excuse myself, I go to the bathroom, and let me tell you guys, when you've had that piss, that one piss, if you're a male, you know this. I don't know if it's the same for girls, how it feels, but for guys, you know this shit, alright? Like, when you've had that piss pent up all day and you finally go to the bathroom and just unleash that fucking cannon, tell me that shit doesn't feel great. A+. Now, imagine that when you're tripping balls and you're just, you got that physical feeling. You feel in tune with that piss, and it's just amazing. It amplifies it 10 times. It's like an orgasm. I damn near nutted. But either way, back on topic. Pardon me. I finished that up, sit back down. Perfect timing, too. I sit back down, literally maybe 2 minutes later, food comes. And, I ate, like, more than I expected I was gonna, because I was tripping. I honestly didn't think I was gonna eat anything. I was like, dude, I'm gonna take, like, I was thinking to myself, I was like, dude, I'm gonna take, like, 2 bites and just sit here, and it's gonna be so weird. But, I managed to get the job done, and, after I sat down and took that piss, maybe it was just the piss that was distracting me. I was a little more active in conversation, trying my best. I don't think she knew I was intoxicated yet, nor did I ever tell her, but I don't really want to find out if she knew, because we kind of stopped talking shortly after this, so it gives me some bad ideas, bad thoughts that maybe she knew, like, we stopped talking pretty shortly after this, but either way, finally check comes around. This is what pissed me off the most, all right? Excuse my language, excuse me for sounding so angry there, not piss me off, but she insisted on paying for herself, right? I'm not one to, like, do that, right? Like, when I, like, take someone out, it's like, I don't know, it's just, like, how I was, like, raised. Like, I was taught, like, I pay for that shit, Like, if I take a girl out, I pay, So we get in, like, a decent argument over who's paying for this shit. And finally, I just throw the money down, and she finally taps out, and I pay for it. So I won. I did pay for it. And it wasn't that expensive either. It was only like maybe $45 before the tip. Not bad at all. But either way, after that, she gave me a ride home. I was still feeling fucking great. I didn't really want to do anything else at that point. I just kind of wanted to go home, so off I went. And let me tell you, good meal. Kind of feel bad for her because I was probably a shitty date, but nevertheless, I paid. So fuck you, suck my dick. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Oh, and also, we got another good song at the end, boys. Listen to that shit. Go follow Sam Round in the description below. It's another banger. As always, go follow him on SoundCloud. Tell him I sent you. Do that shit. Let's get it. See you guys next time. Peace.
I know these niggas really not who they pretend to be. If I take this in, I know that that's the enemy. I'm taking grandma's script, don't know it's got it in me. I'm a real addict, better lock your pill cabinet. I like to chew it up, that way I can feel it fast. All my Xanax dreams feel just like a fairy tale. And every time I die, I realize that I live in hell. I guess that's why I feel at home when I be coming down 100 milligrams.